St. Timothy labored to sow and plant the Catholic faith with St. Paul. And so you have, in the epistles of St. Paul, you have the letters to St. Timothy. And here today you have the beautiful epistle of St. Paul writing to St. Timothy and putting before him the goal, putting before him the object. And in the seminary days, you can get lost in little petty details. And seminarians can sometimes even become a little girlish, arguing over the colors of this or the colors of that, or who knows what. Whatever arguments, like in a family, any little brothers or sisters can argue over. But you're in boot camp and you're training to do battle. Bonum chitam and chitavi, says St. Paul, to fight the good fight. You are here for battle. You are here to be lieutenants training for the greatest war in the history of the human race. And it's a war between Satan, the Prince of Darkness, and the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, as St. Paul calls him today, Jesus Christ the King. And so Archbishop Lefebvre wanted his seminarians to have that goal, the goal of St. Paul, the goal of St. Timothy, the goal of the whole Catholic Church, the bride of Christ, that Christ reign, that he reign in your hearts, reign in our minds, reign in the political order, the economic order, the social order, and reign over the whole world. And Christ chose 12 apostles. He doesn't need much. God chose the 300 men of Gideon and the 300 soldiers of Maccabees. He doesn't need much. And that is his glory, to use nothing, to use nothings, so that flesh may not glory in his sight. And we are like St. Paul and St. Timothy. They were asked, you can pray, you can walk around the temple, you can do good, you can give alms, but don't preach the name Jesus Christ the King. Don't preach this doctrine. And that is what the Revolution asked of the bishops and the Pope of Vatican II. Cardinal Bea visited the Freemasons, the B'nai B'rith, in New York City. He asked them, what do you want from the council? They said, give us religious liberty. Uncrown Christ the King. Remove his name from the constitutions. Put him as an equal with Buddha and Muhammad and Luther. And we'll be happy and we can have a peaceful world. And Cardinal Bea did battle against the church doctrine, against all the teachings of the popes and the scriptures and all of tradition. And the Freemasons had their way and triumphed at the Vatican Council as they themselves cheerfully and in their triumph, their temporary triumph, they think they've won. And the revolution continues. And the part of the new revolution we're facing is we are now being asked by Bishop Follet, by the superiors of the Society Saint-Tenth, if you want to have peace, if you want to work together, if you want to have unity, which is the new buzzword, unity, then be quiet. Stop preaching against Vatican II, against religious liberty, against the documents that compromise on these things within the SSPX. Just be quiet. And I was asked personally, be quiet. And you can have peace, you can have harmony, and you can have unity. But St. Paul and St. Timothy, they did not be quiet. You cannot be quiet and silent on the truth. And so many souls are going to hell now because bishops are silent on the truth. Priests are silent on the truth. Families are falling to pieces, even in traditional circles, because of all the liberalism and all the poisons that are infecting all of us. So the only way to rebuild after these bombs are dropping, Vatican II explosions, and the world on the verge of Third World War, the only way to build is the way St. Pius X told us. You don't have to invent anything new. Rebuild on Jesus Christ, the cornerstone. Rebuild on the doctrine of the Catholic Church, of tradition. And that means we must condemn Vatican II totally, absolutely, and oppose it. And condemn all those who wish to compromise with it. Which means, in our case, the leaders of the SSPX, we must oppose them out of charity for them, out of love for our brothers, out of love for Christ crucified, and the kingship of and his reign in society. We must publicly oppose those who want to uncrown him. And that is what this battle is about. And that is what the Catholic resistance is about. It's nothing else but Jesus Christ King, Jesus Christ eternal high priest, with his Mass, and not a Novus Ordo joke, but his Mass and his sacrifice. That's what you're training for. And that's what you must be focused on. And that's what seminary is about. You're training for war. You're not training for a comfortable priory. You're not training for a comfortable life. If you want that, there's the door. But if you want to get to heaven and do God's will and train in his army, in his boot camp, and your trainer is Christ the King. The priests, the professors, we're just instruments. We only hand down what we received. That's all. But he is the one you're fighting for. He is the one you must love. He is the one you must come to know. And not just seminary and get good grades, but your whole life you have to study him, chase him, run after him. And not beating the air, but run with certainty, as St. Paul says, because you have a great crown in heaven to obtain. And if you're priest, you're going to bring many souls with you. Many, many souls with you. Souls you don't even know, who just see you in the airport, see you pass by in the store, and they see a cassock, they see a man devoted to Christ the King in chastity, and that says, for some souls, all they need to save their soul. And that is a sermon in itself. So let's ask St. Timothy to inflame us, like St. Paul, with a great love of Christ, like Archbishop Lefebvre had, the great love of the priesthood, the great love of the truth. And those who love the truth, truthfully and really, means they have to fight to defend it. That means you've got to make war with those who fight against it. And that's what our Lord meant when I have come to bring the sword, and not peace, not the false peace of this world, which wants peace without Christ the King. And it just can't happen. And you got to be convinced of this. And we are in continual war to the day we die. So may you have the happiness under the Virgin Mary, under whose 12 stars we battle, under her and her mantle we make war. May you be able to say, with Archbishop Lefebvre, with St. Timothy, St. Paul, St. Pius X, bonum certamen certavi, cursum consumavi, fidem servavi. I have fought the good fight of the faith, and I have fought till death for the faith. Bonum certamen certavi, cursum consumavi. I have run the course. Fidem servavi. I have kept the faith. I have kept the faith. And none of the three of the four bishops, they are not keeping the faith. They're not keeping the faith. They have betrayed Archbishop Lefebvre and our Lord, because they want this false agreement and this false peace with the enemies of Jesus Christ. Whether they be on the throne of Peter or reign in the halls, the marble halls of St. Peter in the Vatican, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You cannot make peace with the enemies of Jesus Christ. whether they be in white or red or purple. And so we must pray for them, obviously. Pray for the Pope, that he consecrate Russia, and keep the faith. That's what it's about. Keep the faith. And that means you got to make war. O Mary conceived without sin,
pray for us who ever glories to
O
thee.
Mary conceived without sin,
Pray for us who ever glories to
O
thee.
Mary conceived without sin,
Pray for us who ever glories to
Father,
thee.
Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen. Dominus vobiscum, oremus, veritas mea et misericordia mea cum ipso, et in nomine meo exaltabit facordem Deo. Orate fratres.
Suscipia Dominus sacrificium demonicus quis laudam et gloriam nostri, ad utilitate corpore nostra totius quae cruz Iesus Sancto.
Per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Amen.
Dominus vobiscum,
Et cum spiritu tuo.
sursum corda,
Avemus ad Dominum.
gracias agamus Domino Deo nostro,
Dignum et justum est.
vere dignum et justum est ergum et salutare, nos tibi semper ubique gratias agere. Domini Sancte Pater omnipotens et Deus, per Christum Dominum nostrum, perque maestatem tuam laudant angeli, adorant dominationes, tremont potestates, sceri cervumque virtutes accreates seraphim, soci exultatione concelebrant, cum quibus in nostras voces, ut admittibias deprecamur, supplici confessione dicentes. Salve, salve.